What is going on, everybody? This is SSG, aka Sergeant Sentinel, and welcome to another Sergeant Sentinel gaming video. Now, this isn't necessarily a review video or a live stream. It is focused on gaming, but before I jump into that, I want to say thanks if you're watching this video. I do greatly appreciate it. Hit that like button if you do enjoy this video. Share it with someone on social media. Also, if you're not already subscribed to my channel, please take this opportunity to do so. I'm almost at 500 subscribers, so I'm really pushing to hit that 500 mark. And last but not least, hit that bell icon so you can be notified when I upload new content, whether it's new live streams, game review videos, or game discussion videos like this. Now, today's video is about Ubisoft, the current status of the French publisher. And for those of you that have lives, you may not have been tracking what's going on. You know, you're busy with work or kids or whatever. So let me break it down for you, but I'm going to keep it real simple. Ubisoft is in a lot of trouble. Now, most of why they're in trouble is self-inflicted. And when I say that, I mean that there were definitely indicators along the way that they were doing stuff wrong, but they chose to ignore it. And that's not entirely the developer's fault. Well, I shouldn't say much of it is the developer's fault. Now, a little bit is, and I'm going to go into that in a second, but most of it is the boss's fault. And because of that, this is a publicly traded company, obviously. Because of that, the investors are pissed. Now, the investors want the boss removed, and they want to figure out what the hell's going on, so they're actually calling for an investigation into what Ubisoft is doing and why they're doing it. There was also talk about the investors wanting to take Ubisoft private, which means that you can't have public investors dealing with it, and hopefully, or at least as far as they're hoping, that would help to stem the bleeding of funds, so to speak. Now, for those of you that have been playing Ubisoft games for a while, you know that the quality has diminished, especially in the past 7 or 8 years. It's like they've been going downhill, and you've seen in real time just the quality overall of not just the games themselves, but of Ubisoft as a game publisher. It's just been decreasing noticeably. And when you see a publisher that you enjoy playing their video games, when you see them go through this and they refuse to listen to feedback, they refuse to listen to their customers, it's unfortunate and it's disheartening. But it's almost like they need to learn this hard lesson in order to get better. You look at the 1983 video game debacle that was caused almost entirely by Atari. Well, I say almost entirely. It was caused entirely by Atari. That was necessary for Nintendo to come around in 1985, 1986, and really shine and save the video game industry from fading into obscurity, because if they wouldn't have come back after that, that's what would have happened to the video game industry. It probably wouldn't be around today, or at least not to the level that it is that we see it at today. So in addition to the boss being an idiot and chasing trends instead of making trends, as one of his employees so eloquently put it, another issue with Ubisoft is that you have people working there and contributing to these games that they're pumping out who choose to be a political activist first and a gaming developer second. There used to be a saying, keep your personal and professional lives separate, and I feel that that's essential in this situation. Now, I'm not telling someone that they can't have certain political beliefs or ideological beliefs. I'm not saying that at all, but what I'm saying is, when you come to work for a major game studio like Ubisoft that's going to be selling games to people who may not agree with your political affiliations or ideologies, you have to leave all that stuff at the door, and you have to basically give the customer the product that they're asking for and that they want. Not that you want to give them. You have to give the customer what they want, because what happens is when you don't do that, and you create a game and you inject the game with stuff that you believe in but that they're not going to believe in, and that some of them are going to be pissed about, you're going to see blowback. You're going to see less people buying these games, And you're actually going to see people on social media going out of their way to deter others from buying this game for specific reasons. In addition to that, it just feels like Ubisoft games are nowhere near as fun as they used to be, and sometimes they'll put stuff in games, non-political related, that just doesn't go in the games, or it just doesn't feel right. Now, an example I want to use for this is Ghost Recon Breakpoint. All right, now Ghost Recon Wildlands, in my opinion, was pretty damn good. I enjoyed it. A lot of people were kind of iffy on the huge open world, which I completely understand. It's a hell of a time sink. Now, what I mean by time sink is that it's going to take up a lot of your time to fly around, explore the area, and take out all the bosses of the drug cartels. It could take you like 50, 60 hours probably. So I get it that they want a more linear experience. However, Ghost Recon Breakpoint deviates from what Ghost Recon Wildlands did by focusing on crafting and your character eating and other stuff like that. And in a real world setting, soldiers eat and they have to do stuff like this. But in a Ghost Recon game, I don't give a shit about that. I just don't. So you're going to give this guy a certain type of food that provides him a buff, that levels him up, or some shit like that. I'm like, I don't care about this. I don't give a fuck about it at all. What I care about is upgrading the drone's capabilities or upgrading my squad's capabilities. So rather than one guy being able to take a synchronized shot with me, now 2 can, now 3 can. Like they did in Ghost Recon Wildlands. I think they handled that very well. And again, aside from the game being so damn big, and Ubisoft has been criticized for this, I feel that the game was actually pretty damn good. Now, yes, I admit they kind of got out of control with how big their games really were. Now, you wouldn't see this in games like Far Cry necessarily, but you would see them, obviously, in the Ghost Recon game, but especially in Assassin's Creed. I bought Assassin's Creed Odyssey for both the Xbox and the PlayStation, and believe me when I tell you, those people saying it takes 100 hours to finish the game, if you're doing tons of shit in the game, it does, 100 hours. And for those people that have maybe 2 hours a day to play, you're talking about, like 50 hours. For a 100-hour game, you're talking 50, it's like 50 days. So 2 hours a day, 50 days, that's your 100-hour completion time. That's crazy. So you're spending essentially 2 months on one game. Now, if you don't have much money and you absolutely love that game, that's great. But a lot of people want to try out multiple games, and unfortunately, if a game is that huge, you just can't because it requires so much time to fight the final boss and to complete the main storyline. Now, obviously, Ubisoft listened to that feedback because they made Assassin's Creed Mirage a smaller experience than its predecessor Valhalla was, which Valhalla was even crazier than Assassin's Creed Odyssey. I've heard some people say it took them like 120 hours, which is insane. I did pre-order and play Assassin's Creed Valhalla, but I lost interest in it just because Norse mythology, in my opinion, is overrated. I just didn't like it as much as ancient Greece or Egypt. So I played it for maybe 20 or 30 hours, and I said, you know what, I'm just done with this. But if it would have been a more linear experience, a smaller experience, say 20 to 30 hours, I probably would have finished it. It was too big. And like I said, because I don't really give a shit about Norse mythology, I've never been a fan of it. I was like, well, I guess, I'll play it for a while. And I just got to the point where I was like, I'm just not interested in completing this or playing it anymore. I'm just not. And I stopped and I moved on to other stuff. Now, the fact that they actually listened to people's feedback and they're looking to make shorter, more linear experiences, that's actually a good thing because it means they're listening to people. And I think if they do a lot of listening and really think about what they're doing wrong and legitimately try to fix it, and if they pull those political activists off of games and tell them, hey, you got to be professional and keep your own personal stuff out of these games, otherwise, we're going to kick you out the door kind of thing. If they're able to mitigate all of this and get on top of it, I think Ubisoft can be saved. I legitimately do. But if they don't, and they keep making the same damn mistakes over and over again, Ubisoft is going to fail, they're going to crash, and they're going to be picked up by someone like Tencent. That's how I see it. There is no other way forward. It's either one or the other. But what do you think about the Ubisoft situation? Do you think they can be saved if they listen to feedback, or do you think they're done either way and there is no saving them? Leave your comments in the comment section below. I love to read them. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe to my channel and you hit that bell icon so you can be notified when I upload new content, whether it's game review videos, live streams, or game discussion videos like this is. Thank you so much for watching. I do greatly appreciate it. This is SSG, aka Sergeant Sentinel. Take it easy, gamers.